Hello, everybody. Dr. F. Scott Feil here, and I'd like to introduce you to our newest sponsor. The NPTE Final Frontier is the review course that I wish was around when I took the board exam. For those of you who know my story, it took me a handful of times to pass that exam, and quite frankly, I really wish I had an exam review course around, just like the NPTE Final Frontier. Check out their website, npteff.com, and use the code HET at checkout for 10% off to all of our listeners and fans. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Healthcare Education Transformation Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. F. Scott Feil, and we're bringing you another Teach Me Something Tuesday episode. This one is a little bit of a deeper dive. It's a little bit more intellectual for me, at least. It's a little bit more dorky. A little bit more of a geek out session, but it's something that I learned in my EDD program that was super helpful to me. And I wish I had learned it earlier, especially being an English major, and it's intentional reading. Now, if we're going to learn from reading, I think the main issue from my first go around with education and just getting through college and being an English major, I used to read things and I would highlight the heck out of everything. It was like I would just bleed all over the page with highlighter. And I think a little bit of that might have been a testament to my ADHD and just not knowing it back then. I felt like most of the content was important. And one of the things I learned is I would try to read back over those notes and those highlights and just keep reading them and reading them and reading them until I kind of memorized them, right? We've talked about this before, but rote memorization is not actual learning, right? So with intentional reading, we want to make sure that we have mindful learning and deep processing occurring. Mindfulness kind of refers to being aware and proactive in your learning, leaning into that intention. And mindfulness really requires you to pay more attention to what it is that you're reading because you have the general goal of understanding with some direction, obviously, and that can be guided by things like the assignment or, a syllabus or a section of reading that we have to accomplish. But the overall intent is generally to perform some sort of learning. Now, deep processing is going beneath the surface and really diving deep to see the underlying structure of an idea or a reading, one that makes clear how the idea fits with other ideas or what makes that idea unique. It's kind of like going for a trip. You know you have to get somewhere. But before you do that, you really learn the lay of the land and you learn all of the landmarks along the way before you take that trip. This way, you arrive successfully because you did all the pre-planning. You've kind of seen the general overview of the land and the trek you're going to make. And then you've gotten all the little details of what it's going to look like along the way. One model of reading that you can use to process this stuff and to get mindful learning and deep processing is called SQ3R. Hopefully some of you have heard of it. If not, if it's new to you, hopefully both students and professors alike can utilize this to become better readers. The S stands for survey. You're just going to take a quick skim of the chapter or the journal article or whatever it is that you're reading. You're just going to skim through it real quick, looking for general impressions. The Q is questions. So then you're going to go back and you're going to jot down all the main ideas that you got from kind of reading it the second time and turn those into questions. Then comes the 3R, and that's read, recite, review. And the first R is read. So once you've got these questions, you'll reread the passage or the chapter, journal article, whatever it is. And while you're reading, you're going to be trying to answer those questions that you came up with the main ideas. Then comes the next R, which is reciting. And with reciting, you're going to kind of talk about and talk aloud through your thoughts and ideas on both the question and the answer and see how you can relate it to other things, or is this just a standalone, unique idea as well? So you're going to recite those, especially out loud, almost like you're lecturing or teaching somebody else, because that really helps with mastery and learning when we're trying to get that deep processing or mindful learning. Then the last R is review. And again, with reviewing, we're now going to go back to the very top. We're going to read it one more time. And we're going to try and highlight all the questions that we had, all the answers that we came up with, and then all the connections that we've made. It takes a little longer to do it this way, but truth be told, once you get good at it, it really becomes almost like second nature. It just becomes a process that you can do And you don't have to do it all the time, but I would strongly recommend you doing it when there is something that you have to read to make those mindful learning and deep processing connections. So if it's something that's super important that you just have to get like a really big theme from, and it's something that you're going to be using a lot in future courses and things, then I would recommend using it with the SQ3R method when you do your readings. Hope that was helpful, and we'll see you on the next one.